Hi everybody, Knock Knock Neo here with another video about your mental and emotional well-being. It's been 2 months, about 2 months I think, and I really apologize. I try to do these things pretty regularly, but to be honest with you, sometimes life just throw things at you and you got to deal with it. So I had to put this to the side, deal with a couple of things. Those things are now dealt with, and now I'm back here giving you some more tips on how to help yourself when it comes to depression, anxiety, social anxiety, PTSD, um, what else? Just overall crappy mood, anything, stuff like that. So today it's going to be about depression. And it's not going to be your ordinary, meditate and, get a good night's sleep type of depression type stuff. Like it's not going to be none of that cookie cutter, type of bullshit that most of these things like try to help you out with. This is the stuff that I learned about depression that significantly reduced um, the effects of the depression, right? It's something that I had to learn on my own that no therapist or whatever could really help me with, right? It's something that I guess you just sort of learn along the way. And I'm hoping that the things I'm about to tell you will help cut your journey of self-discovery in half and hopefully help mitigate your symptoms of depression a lot faster so you can get out of the hole a lot faster as well, right? So I'm going to talk to you about the ways that we can possibly cause and definitely exacerbate the symptoms of depression and tips on how you can mitigate that. I want to introduce to you something that I call codependent thinking, and this is something for more people who are suicidal or contemplating suicide, um, or maybe just have maybe they're not maybe they just have the tendency here and there to think about it. And I also want to talk to you about the depressive attitude, which is something that I learned very, very recently that that I am noticing within myself. And I think that if a lot of people noticed it too, and I think it would help them a lot more. So without further ado, here is, let's do it, right? Okay, so the ways that we make our depression worse. If we don't cause it, if it was caused because somebody we were in a fucked up situation and somebody fucked us up that got us depressed, then we definitely things that we do will definitely make it worse. And this is something that we do all the time to ourselves that definitely make our depression worse. And my tip on so I guess tip number one to not make your depression worse is stop judging yourself for having depression. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Stop judging yourself for having depression or any sort of like, you know, emotional or mental, challenges or disturbances or whatever, right? And what do I mean by that? Okay, so whenever we say things like, why can't I just be normal and not have depression? Or like, why do I have to have depression? Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be this? You know, those are judgments because you're telling yourself that you are not normal. You're basically telling yourself that you're not normal for having depression. But depression is so normal. It's not a rare disease. There's no treatment for it. There's a treatment for it. There's a cure for it. Well, they might say that there's no cure for it. There are probably ways that you can manage it. There's definitely ways that maybe people even beat it. But whenever you say to yourself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be normal? Why do I have to be depressed? What's wrong with me? Like those are all judgment statements because there's nothing wrong with you having depression. That's number one. Like think about it. Think about you just having a cold, right? You having a cold. There are people out there who just have a cold or they have a fever and they're sick and they're like, they just go get the rest, they get better, and then they're just like, okay, well, it was cold outside or whatever, I wasn't dressed properly or whatever, my immune system, this and that, and they get better and then they keep moving, right? But with people for depression, we tend to beat ourselves up a lot, right, for having depression, for not being normal. Now, if you're one of those people who catch a cold or a fever and they're like, fuck, why the fuck am I sick? Stop being hard on yourself. Okay, just stop doing that. Just get yourself better and just continue to live your life. Stop being so hard on yourself for having something that is just so common to have and that is just so normal to have. Like, what did I read the other day about how more than half of the US population is depressed. Like, if that's not normal, I mean, that just sounds normal to me. So be kinder to yourself. Stop judging yourself for having depression and just say to yourself, I have depression, it's okay. I'm handling it. I'm handling it. I'm getting it better. I'm figuring it out. Stuff like that. Be more positive. Stop being so judgmental and being so hard on yourself for having depression, because that is going to make that shit even worse. Because you're going to feel like crap. You're making yourself feel like crap for having something that's just so normal. So when you already feel like crap and you're making yourself feel like more crap, that's not going to help you. So number one, stop judging your depression. Stop doing it. It's not going to help you. It's going to make it worse. Don't do it. Okay, number two, you have to stop denying your inner self, and you have to start following what your heart really desires. That's what you have to do. And when I say heart's desire, that's the whole like love yourself thing, right? So stop. When I mean that, stop denying yourself, it's when you want to talk to somebody who's attractive at work, and you want to see if it can go, see if you have see if there's some sort of relationship that can be carried outside of work, or maybe that there's maybe there's a new hobby that you want to take up, but you just tell yourself, no, I'm not good enough, or no, no, what's the point of doing this, or what's the point of doing that, or I'm not good enough, or I said that already, or I don't have the means to do this, or maybe something like what else, finding another job. Let's say there's another job opportunity out there that you really want to go for it, but a part of you just talks yourself out of it and says, no, what if I don't get it, what if I don't like it, what if it's not this or that, whatever. Like, stop doing that. Just stop doing that. And the reason why this is so important, the reason why it's important for you to go talk to the person that you're attracted to see if it can be something. The reason why it's important for you to go and attempt that new hobby that you find interesting, that you saw and you find interesting. The reason why you should, go for the job that you don't think you're qualified for is because, and this is like a Maslow thing. Like, I don't know if you saw my other videos, but there's this guy named Abraham Maslow who does the whole, who believes in self-actualization, and uh, what's that called? The pyramid of hierarchy of needs and all that kind of stuff. That's like my guy. He's the guy, or that's the philosophy that I follow to get myself out of depression. So what this Maslow guy says is that we all human beings have a potential or have a need to fulfill their own potential, right? And he calls that he calls living to your full potential as being fully human, right? Full humanness. And he what's the word, he describes full humanness as, like I said, as living up to your full potential. But more specifically, he says full humanness is experiencing things like joy and love, experiencing things like uh, what else? Liking yourself. He also attributes to fulfilling your own goals. What else? I have no book here, so I keep looking. What else? Giving yourself a possibility of the future, stuff like that. Those are the traits that he calls being fully human. So anything that negates any of those things, right? So not talking to the person at your hobby or at your workplace or at the dog park or whatever, not going for the job opportunity, not trying to attempt the new hobby that you're interested in. Those are all ways that we diminish that we diminish our potential or diminish our capacity, right? Because when you don't talk to the person at work that you're attracted to see if there could to see if there's to see if there's a future there, you're denying yourself the possibility of having a future, right? You're denying yourself the possibility of bringing joy into your life if you deny yourself the attempt of that hobby that you want to try, right? When you don't give yourself a job opportunity, or when you don't go for the job opportunity that you want to go for, that again is denying yourself the possibility of having a future. So I know what a lot of you people are thinking out there. Like, what's the point of going for the job if I don't think I'm gonna get it? What's the point of talking to this, to this person if I don't think if I don't think they're gonna like me? What's the point of even doing any of these things if that? First of all, that's all codependent thinking, and I'll get into that later on, right? So the reason why the codependent thinking doesn't work in these situations is because the goal of talking to the person that you're attracted to, or the hobby that you're trying to attempt, or the job offer that you want to go for, the whole point of going for those things is not necessarily to get them, right? Because obviously you want them, right? But it's to not deny yourself anything, to not deny yourself love, to not deny yourself the possibility of a future, to not deny yourself any type of feeling of joy, you know, or anything like that, right? We have to stop denying ourselves things that we want because we think we're not going to get them, right? Because don't, like, how do I say this? So, okay, I'll give you an example. So let's say I want to go play baseball, right? I saw somebody playing baseball. Baseball looks like a lot of fun, and I want to, and it looks so much fun that I think I want to try it. But then the part of me is gonna be like, well, why are you gonna play baseball for? Like, you're not gonna be, look at all the people out there who play it. They're all really good, and you're starting from the beginning, and this and this and that. And then I'm gonna say, yeah, it's like, I'm no good at it. I'm a bad thrower. I can't really hit the bat very well. All those people are gonna make fun of me, and they've been playing for years, and this and that. And then you start to feel like shit. Like, you start to feel like shit because, I'm gonna start to feel like shit because I'm denying myself the possibility of joy by denying myself this attempt to go play baseball, right? So the idea of me wanting to play baseball is not because I want to get good at it or anything. It's because I just want to have fun, and that's it. So the denial of the joy that I could possibly get from playing baseball because I want to is what's causing my depression. See what I mean? So it's not, so to get the, so let's say you want to talk to a girl, you want to talk to a guy, or you want to talk to somebody, at your workplace, at the dog park or whatever, and then you tell yourself, oh, I can't talk to this person because, I'm ugly, or because, oh, the person's not going to like me, or, whatever it is that you tell yourself to psych yourself out of this experience. The reason why you get depressed is because you're denying yourself the possibility of love, right? Because what happens is, when let's say you do go talk to this person and then they say no, yeah, you're going to feel like crap because you got rejected, right? But it's nowhere near as bad as if you deny yourself the possibility of that love, right? Like, I remember reading a post about this guy who wanted to talk to this girl, and it got to the point where he denied himself talking to this girl because because of whatever reason. I have mental health issues. I'm ugly, whatever excuses that he gave to himself, that he ended up cutting himself. He ended up self-harming himself, and going to the hospital because he denied himself the possibility of love. And eventually, this person did talk to the girl at work that he wanted to talk to, and yes, she rejected him, and yes, he felt bad about it, but he felt better knowing that he knew, right? Knowing that he knew that there was no possibility with that particular girl, right? But to deny yourself the possibility of love and joy with everybody is what's going to cause you depression, right? So start listening to your inner desires and stop denying yourself the possibility of a future. Stop denying yourself the possibility of love or joy. Stop denying yourself the possibility of having a meaningful life. Stop disliking yourself. That's the biggest one. Imagine imagine you're my friend, right? And you come up to me and say, "Hey, Neo, let's go play baseball." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to play baseball." Then you're like, okay, fine. And then my friends are like, okay, fine, right? So then another day, Neo, let's go get ice cream. Let's go get ice cream after lunch. And I tell my friend, no, I don't want to get ice cream after lunch. No, I don't want to do that. Ice cream sucks. Or ice cream is for losers or whatever. You know, Neo, let's go to the zoo. Neo, let's go do this. Neo, let's go have some fun. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to. Eventually, I'm going to say no to you enough times, and you're going to be like, what the hell is the point of me even being around? Right? Imagine that. Imagine you constantly asking your friend to go hang out. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go try this. Let's go try that. And your friend keeps telling you no. Right? You're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel like absolute shit. And you're going to wonder why. Why am I even your friend? Like, why? Why am I even your friend? Like, why am I even around for? Right? Like, and, or even worse, your friend's gonna get mad at you. Your friend is gonna be like, why do you keep denying me? Or why do you keep, denying all of these suggestions that I want to do? How come whenever I want to go eat ice cream, you don't want to go? How come whenever I want to go play baseball, you don't want to go? And then the friend just gets sad, right? That is essentially what that means when the whole thing where it says, treat yourself as you would your best friend, right? Because if your best friend wants to go get ice cream, you're gonna go get ice cream. I don't care what time of the day it is. You know what I mean? Because you love your friend, you want to go hang out with your friend, right? So think about that as yourself. If there's a part of you that wants to go play baseball or whatever it is that that friend inside of you wants to do, and you're constantly denying it, that friend inside of you is gonna get sad, and they're gonna wonder what's the point. Like, what's the point of me even being around, right? That's what that means. So start listening to your desires and stop denying yourself. Now, the one thing I want to point out is that there's a huge difference between listening to your desires and acting out your emotions. There's a huge difference with that. And some people think that acting out their emotions is listening to what their hearts desire. And I'll show you what the difference is, okay? So let's say somebody pisses me off, right? Somebody pisses me off to the point where I just want to go beat them the fuck up, right? I want to go beat them up. And, and I'm so enraged and I'm so this and I'm so that. And some people will think, well, your heart's desire is to go fuck them up. You want to go fuck them up. That's just acting out your emotions, right? What your heart really wants is to just not be mad, not feel whatever it is that's making you mad, not feel jealous because that's making you mad, or not feel this. So you have to think of something. So your heart's desire is really to make yourself feel whole again, or make yourself feel like, you know, um, if you got taken advantage of, then make yourself feel whole, like you didn't get taken advantage of, or whatever the case may be. Like it's really a case by case scenario, right? But going out and beating up the person that made you mad is not gonna. It might make you feel better temporarily, but it's not really gonna solve the issue of you know let's say somebody embarrassed you, right? You go beat them up, okay? Now what, right? Well, I mean, do you want to embarrass them back? Maybe. If you want to embarrass them, if that's your goal, then create a plan to do that instead of just beating them up. But somehow, I'm not saying you go out there and embarrass them. I'm just saying that you have to make yourself feel whole, because to go out and let's say you're mad or whatever, and you want to wear a Joker mask and chase people around with a bat, like just to scare them. That's just acting out your emotions. That's not what your heart really desires, right? So that's what the big difference is, right? Or let's say you break up with a long time partner, and I see this a lot on like clips and stuff like that, and you want to like what scratch their car, blow up their tires, you want to you know rip up all their clothes and whatever, like because they broke your heart. That's just acting out your emotions. That's not really what your heart desires. you know what your heart desires is love. What your heart desires is wanting to feel loved, and that person that you thought was giving that to you wasn't anymore, or took that away from you, and that's why you're so angry and you want to scratch up their car, right? So that's the difference between denying yourself and or sorry listening to your heart's desire and acting out your emotions. Okay. So, and the third tip that I want to give you guys is do things for yourself. Okay. take the responsibility of something and take it for yourself. Okay, and I'll give you a story that will help illustrate this. So I have a friend, and he I have a friend, and he still lives with his parents, right? And his mother goes out and buys, the really cheap toilet paper, like the one ply toilet paper that you gotta roll constantly, and he hates it. Like, he hates the cheap toilet paper. He's always like, every time I talk to him, he's just like, my mom always buy the cheap toilet paper. I can't do shit with it. Like, even the dollar store shit is better, and it's cheaper, and this and that. And I'm like, I keep telling her, go to the dollar store and buy the toilet paper there. So I ask him, I'm like, because this person works. It's not like this person can't buy toilet paper for themselves. They fully can, right? So I asked, would you ever, like, since this pisses you off so much, would you just buy the toilet paper yourself? Like, you work, you can buy toilet paper, and you can buy the kind that you like. And he was just like, nah, I'll let my mom buys all that kind of stuff and whatever, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but you hate the kind of toilet paper that she buys, and it pisses you off to the point where you go on these rants about, the quality of the toilet paper. So why don't you take the responsibility for yourself and just buy your own toilet paper? It's not, like you said yourself, it's a dollar store toilet paper. It's better quality. It's not expensive. You work. You can afford it. So why don't you take that responsibility for yourself? You see what I mean? It's just because the choices are, you either take the responsibility of buying your own toilet paper and you stop complaining about it, and you be happy because now you have the toilet paper that you want, and you feel good that you took charge. Excuse me, I just ate. Or, oh, that's so embarrassing. or you or you just continue to rant and rave, about how your mom buys the cheap toilet paper, and, you hate it and this and that, right? Take the responsibility for yourself and do things for yourself. And that is actually a snowball effect, right? Because so if this person bought their own toilet paper, then that will grow, that autonomy, that sense of autonomy will grow. Then the next step would be like, well, what else can I do for myself, right? Or, the next time something happens that pisses him off, you're like, you know what, fuck, man, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm gonna take care of this shit myself. And then you go off and you take care of it yourself, and then that's when you start to feel more powerful in your own life. And that's when you start to feel like you can really take charge of your life. And if you feel like you can take charge of your life, then you feel like you can do something about it, and you feel like you're more in control, and you feel like you have a better sense of, you feel like your sense of agency grows, right? So your autonomy grows, your sense of agency grows with the responsibilities that you take. Okay, so just to recap, stop judging yourself. Stop judging yourself for having depression. Be gentle on yourself, okay, for being sick. You know what? I'm just sick. It's okay. It's not a big deal. I'll get over it. I'll figure it out. Okay? Stop judging yourself for having depression. Number two, stop denying your inner desires and start listening to them. Okay? Go talk to the person that you find attractive to you. Okay? Go take up that hobby that you want to try. Go and do the job interview, or go apply for the job that you don't think you're qualified for, but you want to try anyways. Okay? Treat yourself like you would your friend, like you would a friend. Okay? Stop denying yourself the possibility of joy. Stop denying yourself the possibility of love. Stop denying yourself the possibility of a meaningful life. Stop denying yourself the possibility of a future. Start liking yourself. Okay? What else? Yeah. Third tip. Do things for yourself. Take responsibility for things that you want to take responsibility for. I'm not saying you take responsibility for everything, but the things that really piss you off that you can take responsibility for, take responsibility for them. If there's a particular brand of rice or whatever, or toilet paper, or whatever that you don't like, and you can go get it yourself to make your life a little bit better, then go do that. Okay, those are my three tips on how to avoid making your depression worse, or alternatively, how to make yourself a little bit better. And all these things is a snowball effect, right? Once you start and you gain momentum, you will see how this will work, right? It's gonna be baby steps at first, because you're depressed, you're in depression, you're in a slump. Things aren't gonna come in easy. But once you start implementing these things, watch, you're gonna take off. Watch. Okay, so now I want to introduce to you the idea of codependent thinking, right? Codependent thinking is a phrase that maybe it's already coined. I know codependency is already a coined term, and I know it deals with emotional codependency. But what I'm thinking about is codependent thinking. Basically, if then statements, if this then that statements in your mind, right? So as I said earlier in the examples, why bother, talking to this person when they're not going to say, when I don't think I have a shot in taking them. It's not about that. It's not about getting the goal or accomplishing the goal. It's about giving yourself the possibility, or allowing yourself a possibility of life, right? So codependent thinking is, let me give you what's the word I'm looking for, a better example, basically. So when I was suicidal, it was, what's the point of living if everything around me sucks anyways, right? Classic, right? Look all around, everything is so shit, right? What's the point of being alive? The reason why that is codependent thinking is because there is a belief that the quality of your life is entirely dependent on the outside world. They are not mutually inclusive, right? They're actually mutually exclusive. I understand that there are factors in this world that will sort of hinder your progress, but you can still make your life something, right? You can still make your life something even though the world outside of you is really shitty, right? So, for example, um, let's say for me, for example, right? Let's say I don't have the ability to have children, right? Then I'm going to say, well, what's the point of even living if I can't have kids, right? But then there's all these possibilities like IVF, like adoption, like surrogacy, like all this other kind of stuff that can say, you know what? I may not be able to give birth to children naturally, but that still doesn't mean that I will deny myself the possibility of having a family. I can still have a family, but not in the way that I thought, naturally was going to have a family. So if you're in that situation where what's the point of being alive if everything else is so shit around me, you can still make your life worthwhile. It's not your life, the quality of your life will not be dependent, is not dependent on, the factors of your outside environment, right? I understand that to some extent it is. I live in Canada. Things out here are not getting any better. Things out here are actually probably the worst it's ever been in my entire life, right? But all of a sudden I'm not gonna be like, fuck man, like it's getting so bad out here. Like what's the point of even living, right? No. These are just challenges that I have to overcome to make my life the way I want it to be, right? And that goes to my earlier thing about what's the point of doing this if you can't do that? No, there is a point, right? There is a point. I can still make my life despite the challenges that are around me. Overcoming these challenges, taking responsibility, and building my autonomy is what is going to help me get out of. Is that what? Sorry, is what's going to give me a better quality of life, right? Because I used to think like that. I used to look around and I used to really feel inside myself and say, what's the point of being alive if everything around me is so shitty? And then one day it hit me that, you know, I can still make my life into something great just because things around me are not that great. I can still make them great. I just had to figure out a how. Like I had to figure out a way to do it. Because the way that I thought I was going to do it, like I thought if I wanted to get to from point A to point B, I had to follow this route. But now I can't go from point A to point B following this route. I gotta go from point A to point B, not in a straight line, but in a curvy line, or in like an upside or whatever line, right? Because there's all these challenges that I have to overcome, right? So that is codependent thinking. Thinking that, if this, then that. Like, what's the point of this? if this, what is the point of this if that is the way, this is? Like, those if and then statements, you got to get that out of your head, because like I said, those two things are not mutually inclusive. Though your life, the quality of your life and the quality of life outside of you are, can be held in two separate ways, and to put them together takes a lot of, just takes a lot of creative thinking on how to figure it out, right? That's all that really is. And being able to figure out your path is also what's going to help you get out of your depression as well. Okay, so next topic, the depressive attitude. I recently learned about this in a book called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And I know some people out there are not too keen on Robert Greene, especially his 48 Laws of Power and stuff like that. It was a great book. I still love it. I still read it. A lot of people think that it's devious in nature and this and that. I understand that perspective, but you have to understand that you can either take the book and feel like a victim and say, oh, he's teaching people how to be like this, or you can use the book and say, you know what, there are people like this there are already people like this who are out there in the world, and this book will help me defend myself against them, right? So I'm taking the latter perspective. I'm taking the latter perspective that says people like this already exist in the world, and this is the way, and me knowing about this is what's going to equip me in defending myself against them, right? So anyway, that was sort of a side tangent, but The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, and look up the depressive attitude. The depressive attitude, in my opinion, is a byproduct of your depression, because even though you may not be clinically depressed, or you may not have generalized or general depression disorder or anything like that. Let's say you no longer have the latent feeling of sadness inside of you anymore. Your thinking can still, your mindset, your attitude could still be in a depressive way, right? So let me give you an example. So I was talking to my friend the other day, and he was telling me about how his mom got this new car, and he was really excited about it. He was really happy for her, and I was happy for him, and it was a really great moment. And I was just like, okay, so I'm guessing, her overall situation has changed, right? And he was like, no, no, her overall situation hasn't changed. This car thing is just, a good thing the first good thing you know, in like, in a little bit, because she's been struggling a little bit. And when I said that, I saw my friend's face change. It went from happy to sad. And I was like, why the hell did I ruin a good celebratory moment with something sad? Like, why did I do that? I should have just kept it in that way. But that's the depressive attitude, right? The depressive outlook is the outlook that always seems to gravitate toward the sadness, or gravitate toward, like, the not so bright side of life, right? And that's just one thing. Another thing that the book mentions is when you want to withdraw from the rest of society. Say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to lock myself in my room for like a long time and not see anybody again. That will only feed your depression even more. Hurting people, wanting to hurt people, will feed our own depression. So even though I'm not depressed anymore, I still have the mentality of a person who's depressed, and I bring up depressive things, in conversation when they're not even necessary. And only now am I realizing that I'm doing this. And when I catch myself doing it, I'm just like, why do people, like, no wonder nobody wants to hang around me. Like, I'm so, like, depressive to be around. Like, I'm so sad to be around. Why the hell am I, like, bringing everybody down around me by mentioning all these sad things during a happy time, right? Like, who wants to be around somebody who's sad all the time? And when I realized that I was the person bringing down everybody because of my sad attitude, I had to cut that out. So now I catch it. I don't catch it all the time, not 100%. But when I do catch it, I'm just like, damn, like, I gotta apologize for that, and I gotta fix that. I gotta, keep things, not depressed, because nobody wants to be around that. Okay, so yeah, I think those are my talks about depression. And is that all I have to say about depression? Um, Yeah, I think that's it. All my notes. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Oh, that was kind of a bit. That was kind of a lot. Okay, so I have some. So for those of you who have watched the videos and follow my channel and stuff like that, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I hope that what I said to you helps you. And I have one announcement to make before I go. I want to let you guys know that I am now available to help you even more. So aside from these videos that I hope are helpful, I am available to talk to. So if you need somebody to talk to, if you've been, if you follow me on YouTube, or you've watched some of my videos and you think I'm the person that can help, that you think, and you need somebody to talk to, and you think I'm the person that can help you figure it out or give you some tips or anything, hit me up. Send me an email, and maybe me and you know, we can figure it out together. Okay, so my email address is knockneo yt, like YouTube, yt@gmail.com. Okay, so send me an email if you need to talk, and we'll figure it out from there. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for watching my talk. I hope I helped. I really do. I'm sorry for being away for a while, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Take care.